Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for watching. So today's video is all about my favorite palettes over the year 2018. Now, as you know, 1 year passed by and I tried a lot of new makeup and a lot of eyeshadow palettes also. But then today I thought I will just show you means like the palettes which I actually used the whole year and are good in quality, and you can definitely pick any you like from the whole collection I'm going to show you today, whatever I used, and I consider them to be my favorite and the best. Like, I can blindly use them. So they're not many, just for your info, they're not many, because then it will be like my whole palette collection video. So that I will do it someday when I will organize everything properly. I'm still working on it. So let's straight away dive into it. And why don't you subscribe before that to my channel and click onto that small notification bell so that you get notified. And if you really love watching my videos and my channel, please do share, like and subscribe, because it will really mean a lot. So first I'm going to show you all the palettes which I used thoroughly and did justice from Makeup Revolution. So I have many Makeup Revolution palettes, but these are the three which I use more often, and I can recommend these palettes to anyone blindly. So the first one is my Chocolate Vice palette. Now, if you know, I am a die-hard fan of this particular palette from this whole chocolate range of Makeup Revolution. Yes, a lot of people say Makeup Revolution to copies, or you know, try to make the exact palettes of the high-end ones, but it's okay because Makeup Revolution in itself is a known brand, and if you're getting something inexpensive, the same kind of a palette, definitely I would not comment on the pigment, because it may happen the high-end one pigments are really good, but Makeup Revolutions are not bad. Like, I will never put them in bad category or not working category. So if you cannot buy those high ends, you can definitely try Makeup Revolution and fulfill your dreams of trying different eyeshadows. So this is the Chocolate Vice palette. This is how it looks. This is the most used palette in my warm category after a lot of other palettes, but then this one I would definitely recommend or keep using it. This is like not an outdated palette, and which will never go off my collection or off my wish list, because this is really good, and apparently all the shades in this palette works well. So there's no doubt about it, like not a single shade will not, like I don't have a complaint with any single shade also from this palette. So this is how the palette looks like. It's an amazing palette for $13.50. What will you get in $13.50? So definitely you should try at least one Makeup Revolution palette and you will not regret. Next is another Ride and Die, and I think this is a 5-star palette. Nobody can go wrong with this particular palette. Is the Makeup Revolution Neutrals versus Neutrals palette. Now, a lot of people and a lot of big YouTubers have compared this palette with Modern Renaissance palette. I would not say that it's the exact dupe, but yes, you have some odd shades which are there in Makeup Revolution, Modern Renaissance. So if you cannot buy that, you can definitely buy this and, you know, fulfill your urge of using Modern Renaissance. But yes, definitely they are not the same. Don't get mistaken, but when you open this palette, instantly you feel it's Modern Renaissance dupe, but it's not, just for your info. But this is another Neutrals versus Neutral. They have launched another Neutral versus Neutrals 2, which I have not picked because I already have one. But this one is an amazing bomb diggity. All the shades in this palette again work well, and this palette will also cost you around $13.50 or less than that. Nothing more than $13.50 this palette will cost you, and for $13.50 you're getting a big huge palette. So this one I have been digging, like you can see the palette, like you know, I have used the palette. So 2018 I was really digging and still digging into it. So I love Makeup Revolution palettes, you know it. Next was my very not a very recent purchase, but you have already seen a review on my channel. Review came up really late because I didn't touch the palette for a very long time, and when I started using it, then I was like, oh my god, I love this. So this is the Sofx collaboration palette from Makeup Revolution. Now these stunning shades work magic, and my favorites are like these two, like these four, you know it, like she will always go for these shades. But only one shade which doesn't work for me in this whole palette is this one, the pinky one. I don't know, I think Makeup Revolution palette, whichever palette has this kind of a shade, has a little chunk, or it doesn't pick or doesn't show up on the eye. So I think this is the particular shade which doesn't work well. Even I have this kind of a shade with my Salted Caramel palette which doesn't work. Apart from that shade, everything else work. So again, in this whole palette, I feel this doesn't work for me personally, but all the other shades are magic. And personal favorite is mine is this one, because it has a dual tone, like a iridescent effect, you want to call it as, or like, you know, you get like when you turn you get a different shade, when you don't turn you get a different shade, kind of a thing. But whole soul, this palette is like a magic. Like, you need to get this palette. Now a lot of people have mixed feelings also in this. Like, I have seen some odd reviews, mostly are like positive reviews, and the ones I have seen which have a little confusing reviews, or they have a little mixed feeling, is maybe because what happens, guys, when we start using a very high-end product or very high quality eyeshadow, and when we jump onto some other brand which is not very high quality but it comes into a drugstore, and you're not getting that kind of a pigment which you're getting in high-end, then we start comparing the quality. So that is the time when the confusion or a mixed feeling starts coming in. So whenever you are using this palette, don't think, okay, this is not working like my Modern Renaissance, or this is not working like my Tarte, because Tarte, Modern Renaissance, other big brands, Morphe, they are high quality palettes. Now you can't be comparing them with this. So I'm not saying this is bad, this is excellent for the price we are paying. So this is amazing, and you can easily get it on Nykaa, bomb diggity. But I would recommend you to buy it from Instagram, because Nykaa is still selling it a little expensive. Enough of talking about Makeup Revolution. Let's jump on to another brand which I have been loving, and I think you would have already guessed it. It's my Colourpop palettes. Now I have been on a buying spree, and I keep buying, and I have bought Perception palette and Give It To Me Straight palette also, but I've still not received it because I directly shipped it to my sister-in-law's place, so I've still not received it, and it will be way late for me to review it. If you still feel that I should review, do let me know, but it's way late to review those palettes, because they both are bomb diggity palettes and nothing wrong to say about them. So apart from that, the other palettes I have, out of all the palettes, I love these three palettes the most, and one of them I have used today with a mixture of another Colourpop single eyeshadow. Now I will go by the release. So the first palette is the Yes Please palette. Now this is like a holy grail, or a one palette which Colourpop released, and it's like the palette by Colourpop is definitely the Yes Please one. Who will not like these shades and will not fall for them? They are amazing. This palette is made for everyone. Like, if you see this yellow and judge the palette, don't do that, because even the yellow works really well. Sorry, so this palette is basically, if you are looking for Colourpop eyeshadows, I would highly recommend you to go for the palettes rather going for the singles. But if you still want to, like, I keep buying singles also, so I should not tell you that. But then still, if you're on a budget and if you don't feel that, you know, I should buy singles, then you should go for these kind of palettes. But this is like an amazing palette. Like, all the shades work well, like all. I don't have a complaint with either of them. And whenever I am, like, you know, I want to create something popped up on, you know, I'm more prone to warmer shades, and I try to, whenever I try to create a look, I end up reaching to a brown or a red or a burgundy. So this palette solves my purpose, and it is bomb diggity. Like, pigments are amazing and one of the best by Colourpop. So this is, I have been using because I love using this palette. So let's jump on to the next one. Now next one was again my favorite purchase, and I feel you should have this one also. This is my You Had Me at Hello palette. Now mostly the palettes which I am showing you today in my favorites, I have reviewed I think all of them on my channel, remaining one or two. So this one is the You Had Me at Hello palette, which comes with its mirror. This was the first palette which Colourpop launched with the mirror. Now if you can see, this is a pure mauvey pinky toned palette, but the smartness which Colourpop always does with their palettes is like they will give you the exact shades which you would need to, you know, play around with the remaining shades in the palette. Like if they have given me mauve, they have given me her exact crease shade also. They have given me right shimmers, they have given me right deepening shade. Like it's not they haphazardly place the shadows and they just want to sell it in the market. So this is like a bomb diggity. Like I generally don't buy these kind of palettes. Because when I saw this one, I was like, I need to get my hands and I need to try. And when I tried, there was a time I was just wearing mauve shades on my eyes. Like it was like all mauve and pinky. So I really love these matte shades, shimmer. These two are my favorite, and this brown is to die for. So I have been digging in. You can see I've been using this palette. So definitely worth buy, and it comes with its own mirror. So most of the time when I end up traveling, I end up carrying this palette with me. So this is another favorite of mine. Next is another Colourpop palette. This is the last Colourpop palette in my favorite list. This one. So this one is the Double Entender palette. Now this palette's packaging, whenever I put it in front of my camera, it just gives me that boom lighting. So I will just keep it a little down. So this is how the palette looks like. As you can see, you get the best of best warmers and cooler shades. Now I would consider it as a more of a cooler nude shade. Yes, Colourpop has been releasing more cooler shades palette, but for me this is the right amount of cooling, because a more cooler palette than this would not show up on my skin, I think so, and it may not work the way it is supposed to. But this one is bomb diggity. Now today I have used this palette, and I'll tell you, I have used these two shades, only these two shades, to create this look, and it's very simple to create. I don't try to mingle a lot of shadows when I'm placing on my eyes, because I feel like let's keep it simple and nice and nice. So these two are my favorite shades, and then I place this one a little bit on my outer corner just to deepen up my outer crease. So this is like damn hot. So this one is another favorite palette which I have been using from the time I received it, because I'm obsessed with the shades. Like this is like, after my Savannah Colors palette, I think this is the shade palette which I pick up the most out of all the palettes I showed you. So again, another nice palette. If you have any doubts, second thoughts, remove those second thoughts, buy this one. You will love it. And the shimmer quality in this palette is much better than the earlier palettes were launched before this palette. The shimmer quality is like bomb. It's like butter. Okay, let's move on to another two single eyeshadows from Colourpop before I get into another palette. Now these are two of my favorite singles. One is the shade Static. You already know I have shown this shade in a lot of my favorites, and you can see I have been digging in this a lot. So this one is amazing. And another one is not a very old purchase, but not a very recent, is called Sprinkle Me. This is how it is. As you can see, I have been digging into this also. Now why do I like this shade a lot? Because it is like, I don't know, it's one of the different shimmers I have with me, and the way it shows up on my skin, like on my skin, on my eyes, it's different. Like I don't know, it's very different. I've never seen something like this in my whole collection. Like you can't even see it on my hands. Like today I've used it on my brow bones because it's very subtle and it's really nice. Like it's a mixture of a gold, rose gold, bronze, copper. I think they have mixed everything and they've made one universal shade kind of a thing. But amazing. This is Sprinkle Me. So I got this in the set. I don't know if you get it alone or not. So these are the two singles which I have been loving by Colourpop. Let's jump on to the last three palettes which are again one of my favorites, and I have been playing around. You would have guessed one at least. This is the Savannah Colors Browns palette. If you know, there are n number of videos on my channel where I have been using only this palette, and I have done a lot of videos and looks where I've been using only this one. So you can imagine this palette alone works well to create simple to smoky to night looks. So don't think that, you know, it's a very small palette, it has only similar shades, what will it do? But it does a lot, I'm telling you. And it's one of the most inexpensive ones and economical and good in pigmentation. So this is the browns palette which I have been using whole year, and I think I will use it my lifetime. There's no replacement of it. Next is a palette which was given to me by Antariksha, and I've never shown this palette on my channel. I don't know why. I don't know. And I never reviewed this palette because it was a gift. And secondly, it was my, I think, one of my first international palettes to receive from someone. So this is the Zoeva Rodeo Bell palette. This is how it is. And off camera, I use this palette. I use this palette, and specifically I'll tell you for which shades I use this palette. Now generally, this is how the palette looks like. Generally I use this blue and this one. And when Antariksha sent me this palette, her motive was that will I use, like, I should get out of my that comfort zone, and you know, I should try something different and new. So she sent me this palette, and I must tell you, these two together work bomb on my skin, on my eyes. And I think you would have already seen my earlier videos. I would not be able to tell you which video I used this palette in, that one, that look. Maybe if you can recollect, maybe it was my favorites video only. So these shadows are really good. Like, I purposely didn't touch this one because I was like, I will definitely use this one. But I was like, let me just jump out of my comfort zone and use it, and I loved it. So whenever I want to do a blue or a silverish blue shade or anything, I will just pick up this palette, because these are the shades which are there only in this palette. I don't have a single palette which has these kind of shades. So whenever I want to create a little Vaisa wala look, I always pick up this palette. And personally, I really love the pigmentation of this palette. And no, I don't have many Zoeva palettes or anything. This was like the first one to introduce to me by Antariksha, and I love it. So definitely it has to be one of my favorites, because you know, Decembers, Novembers are party time and you need something different. So hands down, if you can get your hands, you should definitely buy one. Now it's the last palette which I've never felt that will reach to my favorites category. So I don't know, you will also be surprised, I feel. So this is my Anastasia Beverly Hills Prism palette. Now, I never thought this would be my favorite because of the color ranges which this palette has. This is how it looks. You must be thinking, now how? But yes, it is. And because of certain shades, it's my favorite palette. I would not say that I use every single shade, but mostly I have used every single shade. Why should I lie to you? But I've used every single shade. I'm also surprised. But personally, I am not a fan of the yellow one, because I feel it doesn't do any extraordinary when I'm placing the shadow. So it's like an extra step which I end up doing, but it doesn't do anything. So maybe apart from that yellow, I've used all the shades in this palette, but apart from this yellow, I can dig into any shade. Now this green and this blue, I don't have anything like this. Like, the pigment to these shadows are like to die for. Even if you play these shadows into lower lash line, your eyes will be like lifted in like in no time. So definitely, and they have amazing crease shades, amazing highlighting shades, and it's a wholesome palette. And if you have any doubts to buy this palette, don't have any doubts. Buy. Quality is good, pigmentation is good. And I don't know about the other palettes because I've not used them, but this one is amazing. And I have ordered my Modern Renaissance and Soft Glam palette because I want them. But I will not be receiving any time soon. So whenever I receive it, I will let you know. So yeah, girls, these were my 2018 favorites eyeshadow palettes, which I have been digging and abusing, whatever you call it as. But I have been using them and they are one of the best I have. I have many other palettes also, they are also best, but these are the ones which I have used. So I hope you loved watching, and do let me know if you own any of them and you really like anything, and if you want to suggest me any more new interesting palettes, do let me know about them also. Yeah, so that's it. And if you really loved watching this video, please like, subscribe and share. It will really mean a lot to me. So take care and bye bye.